Welcome to another episode of the Chrissy Mayer podcast. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And if you're listening to us right now on iTunes, won't you go leave a 5-star review? For example, here's a really great review from Mike Ishman. Every show is fun and open-minded. I really enjoyed the Buck Angel episode. I really love that one too. It really pointed out how closed-minded and culty woke culture is. The Gavin episode was great. Isaac Weishaupt is really cool. It's a really cool guest. Check it out for yourself. She has something for everyone. Porn, comedy, and conspiracy. What more could you ask for? Oh, thanks, Mike. That's a great review. And the title of the review is Quickly Becoming One of My Favorites. Ooh. Speaking of coming, this episode is brought to you by Manscaped.com. Manscaped, they are the best in below-the-waist trimming with precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. I'm going to pull up the website right here, right now, so you guys can see. Shout out to StreamYard. This stuff is great. Right now, they have a special offer going on. You're going to get free boxers, a toiletry bag, and free shipping with the purchase of the Performance Package Kit, which I highly recommend. I bought it for my boyfriend. It comes with a lawnmower, which is like their sort of premier, like electric razor, basically. It's so legit. It's like really, really nice. The battery lasts up to 90 minutes. It comes with a great recharging station. It's legit waterproof with a cutting edge ceramic blade. It will reduce any awkward grooming accidents. This is what I got for my boyfriend. I swear to God, it made his dick look bigger. I mean, I think that's pretty much a good reason to get it. You know, Valentine's Day is coming up. If you're a gal listening to this, this is pretty much a gift for you, to be honest. And if you're a guy, go ahead and splurge on yourself. I know a lot of guys don't like to get products for themselves. They think it's gay or whatever. Go ahead and buy yourself a nice razor for down there. It's a win-win. We're going to want to put your dick and balls in our mouth, and you're going to feel better and cleaner down there. If you're a dude, give this a try. Go to manscaped.com. Use the promo code CMP. You're going to get 20% off plus free shipping. This is really great. It's and they've got a lot of great like tonics and it's waterproof. Look at this weed whacker. This is if you have a lot of ear and nose hair, like if you're a dad, I guess. This looks like an alien, but it's legit stuff. And they have these great crop cleanser. They say crop instead of balls. Crop cleanser, crop reviver, crop preserver. I mean, who doesn't want to preserve great balls? And it'll make them smell really, really great too. So check it out. Go to manscaped.com. Use the promo code CMP. Get 20% off of your whole order. Plus free shipping. This episode is also brought to you by Cushy Dreams. Cushy Dreams offers a full lineup of premium smokable CBD. They specialize in extraordinary CBD-rich hemp flower, aka bud. It comes in these cans right here, and it's vacuum sealed to preserve freshness and cannabinoids. And they also do these really wonderfully wrapped joints. Boom, right here. Look how beautiful that is. So cute. And it's child safe in case, you have children. Enjoy all the health benefits of CBD without getting high. There's under 0.3% THC in all of these products. It's cannabis that ships directly to you. It's legal in all 50 states. Join the men and women who are sick of vapes and gummies and they want to smoke their CBD. Cushy Dreams. It looks, feels, smells just like high quality marijuana, but it's not. It's not going to take you to La La Land. You're not going to get too whoop-de-loop-de. You're going to be relaxed. You're going to feel good. It's grown here in the USA. Each batch is slow cured for 2 to 4 weeks. They do tons of independent lab tests to show compliance and purity. On all this is posted on their website. So check out cushydreams.com. And they've got a ton of different strains and indica sativa blends like energy, hustle, relax, dream, peace. So whatever kind of day you want to have, Cushy Dreams has a strain for you. So that's cushydreams.com, Kushy. Use the promo code CMP to get 20% off every order, not just your first order, and get free shipping. That's right, guys. All right. Without further ado, I am so excited to have these gals on the podcast today. What I wanted to do is like a very cool, like sort of collage of lady comics who have joined OnlyFans, and I'm so excited to have them all here. I'm so excited that they can do it on relatively short notice because I get these ideas and then I just hope that people can jump in. So I'm going to bring them all on right now. Keanu Thompson, stand-up comic, more of a recent OnlyFans gal. Good to have
Very
you.
Recent. Hi, hello.
Purple microphone. It's already looking sexual. Wendi Starling looking gorgeous and glowing, and my God, it's like all of you guys are moisturizing and exfoliating. Wendi, good to have you. Been a longtime friend, longtime comic. So happy to have you here on the pod today. Hello, Wendi.
It's so nice to see you. I was just painting my toenails because I got a request for they want more feet in the. I'm like, whatever. So I was like, quick.
I need a pedicure. I'm learning. Seriously.
They always want more feet. They're never happy. They're never happy. And I believe she has done Wet Spot, or I think or possibly an episode of Never Have I Ever, the throwback to that show I did a few months back. Another stand-up comic, Syre. How are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Also, yes, I can hear you. Also very glowing, and you all look glowing and moisturized. And makes you want to go back and exfoliate and try again. So basically you're all here today because you're all, the lockdown in the last year has been pretty crazy for everybody. A lot of us, I mean, I pivoted more into doing this podcast because stand-up was just not happening. So I want each of you to go around and, maybe briefly say like how long you've been doing comedy and how long you've been doing OnlyFans, and then we'll sort of break it out into, maybe different pros and cons. Cause I've heard people, kind of, it sounds like, oh, they're judging comics that do comedy and OnlyFans, but at the same time, it's like, I feel like there's jealousy there too. So we'll get into all that, but I want to go around how long have you been doing comedy? How long have you been doing OnlyFans, and what made you get into OnlyFans? And we'll start with Keanu.
Comedy only like 5 years, so I'm kind of new at that too. But it dried up for me because I kind of refused to do a Zoom show. I'm glad people are keeping it alive. It's just not for me. Like, what the fuck is the point? I'm glad people are doing it though, keeping it alive, doing whatever. But the OnlyFans I've been doing for 2.5 weeks. And it's just as invigorating. So, I mean, and you can't complain about the money. So I'm a newbie at it, but it's like free money. So I just thought, why not? Also, my dad's not paying my rent anymore because I wanted to get my financial burden off of him when COVID started, because he owns a pyrotechnics company and we didn't really have a 4th of July last year. But
no.
Yes. So I was doing unemployment, and I still work for him too, from like remotely. But it's just the easiest money. I can't even believe it. So
wow.
If men are jealous or judge, women for doing OnlyFans, then fuck you. You're probably subscribed to my profile.
Wendi.
Let's see. I've been doing stand-up. It's a little over 11 years. And then I signed up for OnlyFans, I think maybe like 6 months ago when the pandemic hit, because I was already, and I know you and Keanu know this, Sovereign, I don't think we've ever met. I'm very open on stage about having done sex work. Like, I worked sex parties. I've had sugar daddies when I was living in New York for the past, 4 years. So I'm not opposed to any type of sex work. I think it's great. And same thing. When we couldn't perform, I lost stand-up became illegal. And then my other way I made money was banging these 2 rich dudes, and they went to their homes in the fucking Hamptons. So I was like, both of my jobs are illegal. What the fuck? And it's like, I'm taking pictures of my pussy just for myself anyway. And then, that's why I started OnlyFans like 6 months ago. And, it's super fun. And I mean, I'm sure we'll get to this, but I recently had like an explosion of subscriptions because of something non-sex related at all. So I'm like, I got my deposit today and I opened my bank account. And I was like, goddamn. Like, so yeah. It's great.
Ooh, Sovereign.
So I've been doing stand-up for 5 years. Actually, around Thanksgiving of 2015 was the first time I went up. So it's been almost exactly 5 years. And then I've been doing porn since 2011. And I took some breaks when I started doing stand-up. After about a year and a half, I was able to start touring doing it. And so I quit porn for about a year and a half. And then came back to it about 2 years ago. And then started an OnlyFans then. Like, because that was just the way porn was going, was all these girls were like, hey, like creating our own content is starting to actually really pay. So I started doing that. And then also because in porn, like the themes of the shoots like started to get kind of icky for me. Like I just didn't like the faux cest and all that stuff. Like it was just a little much. So I was already kind of leaning into OnlyFans and was doing stand-up and I was working as a writer, and I've always been a writer too, like a comedy writer. And I worked on some web series and things like that. And that work was starting to pick up right when the pandemic hit. And then that led to an explosion in my OnlyFans. And I think like a couple months into quarantine, I called my agent and I was like, I think I'm done. I think 10 years in porn is a long time, and like, I don't need it. And the irony is that now, like my income is probably double what it ever was pre-pandemic. Like I went into a whole new tax bracket.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
That's great.
Yeah, so for me, like with people judging stand-up, whatever, like they've always known that, because I had a podcast where I interviewed comedians about world events called Observations. And those stand-up comedians after a while were like, you should do stand-up. You're really funny. And then another comedian was working on a pilot and asked me to submit stuff for this pilot she was doing. I had written on a web series. So like I kind of came into it, other comics telling me like, you should try it. So when I started doing stand-up, everyone thought it was their idea. So they were really nice about it because they were like, well, I told her to do it. So it's like, it's cool. So me doing OnlyFans now is, everyone's like, well, of course she's doing OnlyFans. She's a porn star. Like, so
interesting. Like it almost was easier to go from porn to OnlyFans than I feel like to go from comedy to OnlyFans. And I think a lot of it comes from jealousy. Like I have no idea like exactly what kind of money people can make, but I've heard, like I had this friend, Chablis. I felt like I was like,
Chablis. I used to watch her baby.
Yeah.
I used to babysit her kid with my boyfriend, but she's doing great.
She's doing great. She said like, oh, I've paid my rent in like no time. And I was like, wow. It's like all she did, she bought a couple wigs and she's off to the races,
living her life, living in Vegas, just hoeing it up and getting money.
I think like actually ladies like yourselves actually have an advantage because you didn't do porn. So what's been cool to see is a lot of girls coming onto OnlyFans that literally are the girl next door, because there isn't I have a decade of content behind me on the internet. So for me to pull in subscribers, I have to really work on what I'm offering. So I have to do a lot of engagement. Like most of my OnlyFans is engagement and one-on-one stuff. And what they want is access to a porn star they've watched for 10 years and stuff. Whereas girls that have never done anything, because the internet isn't flooded with your nudes, like you actually attract more subscribers, because a lot of times the fantasy for guys is the girlfriend experience. And so they want someone.
How many subscribers I got so quickly. I wasn't even ready. I made a joke on Instagram, like OnlyFans outtake. And my boyfriend was taking pictures for me for my OnlyFans. And then subscribers started coming in. It was shocking. I thought I'd have like 10. I have like 325 now.
I saw that picture. I was like, look at Keanu.
And I know that will go down after the first month or whatever, but I post every day. I talk to them. It's like a full-time fucking job.
Yeah.
But if you want to ask me what I did all day and I say, went to Target, peed, took a shit, took a shower, fucked my boyfriend, and they give you money, then that's
more than I've done today. Good for you.
Right. I was going to say, to piggyback on what Sovereign was saying, it's true. Like because I just turned 39, and I always, and I think because I'm such like just a mouthy, like, I don't advertise, even I talk about being a sex worker and I talk about sex on stage. I don't present sexually on stage because I know what I'm going to talk about is so fucking off the wall. And just my personality too. I'm just a very, like, I have this voice, I have big shoulders, I have small tits. I shave my head every few years. So it's like, it's a very specific person that's attracted to me.
Britney Spears,
right? Yeah. And so I had it, and I do a low membership because I have the sugar daddies that I have had, and there are two that I'm still in contact with that I do not see, and I have so much engagement with them for a lot of money.
Yeah,
those are relationships that I've had for a long time, and I try to be aware of my energy. So with the OnlyFans, I just do like $5 a month, and I post like 4 times a week, and I do like fun, whatever the fuck I want to do.
Yeah.
I don't show my full pussy because I'm like, people pay me $500 to have dinner with them. I'm not showing you my cunt for what comes out to 18 cents a picture.
No, my subscription's very low too, because I wasn't sure people would subscribe, but I post every day. I talk to them all the time, and it seems to be going well. And then you blast out you message everybody with the more like scandalous photos. And then if you really want to see my pussy, I'll send you a picture, but talk to me a little bit. Let me make sure you're not like a psychopath, and I'll send it to you for like a little bit amount of money. And then there's a few people, there's like a couple people I'll do videos for, but one is because I know he can't tell on me or like, like send it out because of his job. And then, I mean,
what kind of a job
a couple people. Yeah.
What kind of a job does he have?
I don't even want to, I can't even say.
Okay.
I don't
Entertainment? If you want to go so general, is it entertainment? Is it finance? Is it?
I literally cannot say because you would know who he was.
Oh, really? You're like president of the United States now.
No, and it's like nobody that I know well or anything, but I can't say, but he's very nice.
Famous, kind of. Sounds famous. Ooh.
Not I can't say anymore.
Okay. That's kind of nice. That's kind of nice because I have a Patreon and I'll put and I've been going back and forth like, should I do an OnlyFans? Like,
definitely do it.
Part of me is like, well, I'm not
it's
in like
money on the table.
I'm not in like good enough shape yet to.
No, they don't give a fuck. No, they don't give a fuck.
Chrissy,
my ass is jello. They don't give a fuck.
I'll send you pictures. I have small tits, and I want this guy. I did my first thing like on a dildo because like my sugar daddy bought me one to make a video for him. But so I like put a picture of me holding it, and anyway. So this guy wanted POV, and I was writing, and I look at the camera, and I'm like, it looks fine, but I was like, my tits are kind of uneven when I do this post. So now I'm fucked up in the head about writing somebody. But people are like, that. This is the feedback that I get is just people are like, they're like, it's like real, it's raw. So whatever the fuck you look like, if people like you, I'm getting followers from my TikTok videos where I dress like a man and talk shit.
Oh, that happened to me. I did a TikTok video that went viral. It got, I don't know, like 200,000 plus views really quickly. Wow. And it was literally me just doing a joke about pussy farts. Cause like my TikTok, I don't advertise my OnlyFans at all. And I've done maybe 2 thirst traps on it. Almost all of it is just comedy, but I have the link tree in my bio that has my OnlyFans on it. And that video went viral. And I went up to like 700 subscribers. I mean, most of them fell away, but still that surge brought me up to bringing my OnlyFans to pulling in like $8,000 a month. You know, wow. I mean, it was like, yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's going to stay, but
no, but
it's possible. It happens.
It won't stay, but the surge and the money is good or whatever. That's fine.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, like for the most part, the stuff I engage a lot. And the thing is, a lot of the stuff that I post is just, they're not even nudes or anything. It'll just be selfies, me at Starbucks in the drive-thru there, me at the dog park with my dog, me hanging out with my dog. Here's a picture of my feet while I'm painting my toenails. Like there's sexy stuff in it. But like I said, I think for the most part, especially with quarantine, people are just missing like connection. Yeah. And so they just want to feel like they know you, and they want to feel like they don't mind paying a subscription. What I like about OnlyFans is that people are beginning to understand that emotional labor is labor. So these people are sitting home alone and they want a girl to talk to. And my thing is like like they've started to learn that if they slide into a girl's DMs on Twitter, they're going to get nothing. But if they go pay like $3 or $5 a month for a girl's OnlyFans, they will get her undivided fucking attention.
It's true.
And, you know, it's like, so I feel like we're also doing a service for civilian girls, because it's like, let us remove that burden from you so you don't get just bombarded with people in your DMs. And one of the people that's doing really well is my friend Allison Stevenson. Do you guys know her? She's a comedian.
I haven't heard of her.
Love Allison.
I'll check her out.
Oh,
I have a childhood friend named Allison Stevenson.
She's fucking great.
She's amazing, and she's a bigger girl, and she does, and like the way that she's dealt with that in stand up is she just like she owns it, and she like pushes back against it, like, just because I'm fat, just because I'm this, like I am sexual. And so she's really on the front of that sort of body positivity. She does like sort of all these things about sort of plus size stripping. And like, she's just really kind of owned that as her brand.
There's a market for that. Some dudes love that. So,
almost all dudes love that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like they just don't love it in public because of there's social stigma around it. Right. But nearly all men enjoy a BBW. They don't turn away on TikTok. They watch those all the way through. They're just embarrassed to tell their friends about it. But she was always posting stuff on Instagram because she would do stripping videos and twerk videos and stuff like that, because she organized these events, which was sort of burlesque, like BBW burlesque type stuff, always while actively doing her comedy. And it was like the day she said she was opening her OnlyFans, it's like the night before I've been like, man, like I gotta tell Ellison to just open a fucking OnlyFans. She'd make a killing posting what she's already posting on Instagram. Like even if she never went any further. And then she just tweeted the other day that she, by like taking a picture of her asshole and posting it, she had made more in one day than she had made like for writing like several Vice articles as like
somebody gave me I won't do asshole because it's just not my favorite thing to do, but somebody gave me $1,000 for one picture of my asshole. I was like, I can't not fucking take that. You know, if you really want to see my asshole and you want to give me $1,000. My boyfriend took the picture, like spread my cheeks. He's like, this is what I'm gonna see. And then it's like $1,000. What am I gonna do?
Keanu, what does your boyfriend think of your doing this? Because I, you know, a mutual friend of all of ours, Karen Feehan, like she's talked publicly about that she's gone from having an account to not having an account. She one time had a boyfriend that wanted her to quit, so she did quit it for him. And I can just, I mean, I feel like if I was posting a lot of nudes on an OnlyFans, I just feel like my boyfriend would definitely not love that idea. So I just don't know, like, is it a thing at all, Keanu, with your boyfriend, or like the other two girls? Obviously, like, you can jump in on this too. Like, do you feel like it hampers you in any way, or how? No,
we have great sex. I let him fuck me whenever he fucking wants. I blow him constantly. I mean, what's he gonna fucking say? I literally let him enter me whenever he wants. So the other thing is, I think he I can sense a hinge of like, fuck, but mostly he's just happy for me and doesn't mind taking the pictures, and it makes for like good sex. So he doesn't care. Also, I think he likes the fact that like people are like looking at me and they all know I have a boyfriend. I get messages, your boyfriend's so lucky or whatever. I'm like, I know, right?
He is. You're like, you should read these. Yeah.
He doesn't mind. He doesn't really mind. He's pretty much A-okay with it. Granted, it's only been 2.5 weeks of this, so
right.
I'm not an expert, but
I've never
now.
Everyone I've been with, I mean, they know that I did porn, so they're, you know, they come to the party like okay with that. So usually they're just like my bitch is so bad people literally pay to watch her piss. Like like I get guys with that mentality. Like that's the kind of person that wants to date me. It's like they're like high-fiving all their friends. They're like, see that? Over here. Like, yeah. So
yeah, no, same.
I was gonna charge the guy for my asshole. I was like, maybe what, 500? He's like, Keanu, do 1,000. He wants to see your asshole. I was like, okay.
High offer and let them go down. Never sell yourself short.
I know.
No.
True.
There's a guy that I see sometimes, and because COVID, I can't really see him that much, but I hear. And it's a situation that is through a website. It's a sugar daddy situation. And so it's a very specific relationship and he's dominant. And I was nervous to tell him about this. And then when I did, because the dominance that can kind of be overly possessive, but we haven't seen each other in like 6 weeks. But he gets off on it. He thinks it's the fucking that's the same, like I think the same type of guy dates me as would date you, because I'm so open about having sugar daddies. And I'm like, I've worked sex parties. So I'm not going to be monogamous. So that you have to be kind of okay with that and get off on it. And yeah, this guy, he'll just be like, I'll send him pictures. I'm like, this just went up on my OnlyFans. And he's like, you're such a fucking whore. And I love it. But like in a respectful way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
like, you look like a whore in this one. That's the one you post. Where I'm like, I look skinnier in this one though. He's like, no. Post the hoary one.
Yeah. But a guy that's confident.
Like, yeah, exactly.
A guy that's confident and like a real alpha, if they're confident in themselves and in the relationship, they understand that it's work. And so like he gets off on, he's like, I think it's really hot that like you're sending these pictures to all these dudes, but like I'm the one you fuck. And I'm like, great. Cause where it's just
because it's for them it's like a value situation. If you're like on the market, it's this idea that like you're a high value item, like people pay money to look at you naked, like that way, like they like to acquire things, like men like to chase things and like to have shiny things. And so if everyone wants that girl, that's the one they want too. Like human beings are kind of the same. We have like a scarcity impulse, which is like we want the one thing that everyone else wants. So yeah, I think for me, a lot of guys that approach me, that they tend to be alpha, super confident. And to them, it's like, they know that I'm getting hundreds of DMs and messages on OnlyFans telling me I'm the prettiest girl in the world. So that for them, it ignites their like competition impulse, where it's like, now it's like, it gives them something to like work for. And men like to work for stuff. Like, you know, I mean, of course there's going to be like, but those dudes aren't even going to approach you. They're going to see you have an OnlyFans and they're not even going to approach you because they're going to be like, whore. And
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Been called that my whole life any fucking way.
Exactly.
Yeah. Been called a whore just for doing comedy. So what do you guys say to the person that feels the opposite? What do you say to the person who goes, well, you're actually lowering your value because you're just putting everything out there for anybody to see, to pay whatever dollars a month, that it's something that you should, and I'm sure this is a take that like more conservative and or religious people would have, but like, oh, you got to save that for the person you love. Like what, you know,
I was putting my ass on Instagram any fucking way for free. Why not put my ass in a little more for money? I mean, that makes no sense. So I don't care. And my parents are like cool with it. They like it. They're like, can we subscribe?
Dude, can you imagine if it was your dad that paid $1,000 for your asshole?
Can you fucking imagine?
No, dude, my mom wanted to go with me to the AVN Awards one year. And I was like, Mom, I know you're really proud of me, but there's some things that just aren't appropriate. Like I'm not walking my mom down the red carpet at AVN. Like people aren't going to react the way you think they're going to react. They're going to think it's weird.
Yeah. They're going to be like, oh, is she in
is this why you're here?
Is she in grandma porn? You're like, no, this is my mom.
Is she the reason that you do this job? Did you want to just bring her on down? Like,
you're like, look, I'm not doing this faux incest shit. We're doing it for real. I'm so offended by this other shit. You want to have someone who's 37 play my mother? That's unrealistic. I don't like the ageism in Hollywood. So it's going to be my actual mother.
Yeah. Get over here, Mom.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. No.
Yeah. Well,
I think when people are like whenever people are like, oh, you're a whore and you're letting everyone see it, it's just like like we're not going to get along because you're buying into a system a patriarchal system that benefits men directly. Like women thinking they have to reserve their sexuality for one person and be submissive and all of that stuff, that only benefits dudes. Like that's so like on a fundamental level, like we're not going to get along because you don't believe in like women's right to self-determination and agency and like self-sufficiency. Because my thing says, what makes me high value is I don't need your money and I don't need your status and I don't need any of that. Like I make a 6-figure income. I have validation from anywhere that I want it. That is what makes me high value is I don't need you. And that's what makes me attractive, not like sitting around waiting to get chosen, like being able to pick me. Like, please choose me. Like, I'm going to have no skills, no financial independence, and no emotional independence. And hopefully someone will pick me that has a bunch of money and is going to completely take, like, it's so ridiculous.
That
it's
might
like,
cheat on you anyway and leave you.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, like, how is that attractive? Because guys get girls like that and then they cheat on them because it's a lot of work to be completely responsible for someone else's finances, emotions, and happiness.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You're an inspiration. Jesus.
Yeah.
I feel great about doing OnlyFans now. I wrote on my cons list a level of disgust, but I'm going to cross it out.
No, don't. Because on TikTok, because I have stuff about, I did a sugar daddy joke that I've done on stage for years, and people commented the one, and Chrissy's seen this, I know, a handful of times, but where the joke is like, we should be paid for sex, 70 cents on the dollar and whatever. And then the punchline is, I refer to my pussy as my wage gap. So that one, I was like, I wonder if I do just a joke, but to camera, how that will play on TikTok. And it played well. And shout out to my acting ability to do a joke I've done a million times on stage. And people were so fucking pissed because they think it's real and they don't realize it's a show. But I've been getting
Are you talking about the one with the necklaces? The guy with the necklaces?
No, that's the joke about fucking the 22-year-old. That's the one that's just reached 1.5 million views, which is...
Oh, wow. Nice.
The lighting on it was like fucked up. And it's so funny because TikTok is like... it's a lot of young people, right? And so I'm 39. I've had no plastic surgery, and I'm just, like, whatever's fucked up. Like, and the thing is, not for whatever, but like, I'm on OnlyFans and I do sex work, but also my true sense of value comes from like, I'm funny. So I kind of don't give a shit about what I look like half of the time. So I'm doing this joke and people are just like, you're fucking old. So I'm getting people, not the majority of it's very nice, but it's like young people telling me I'm old. And then on all the sugar daddy stuff, because with that, people started asking questions. So I started doing sugar dating tips.
Right.
And as a way to incorporate jokes. And also, we know we're comics. We're doing a thing to bring people into like other realms of our whatever that we have planned. But I was like, this is, I think, smart to pick a specific thing. So on TikTok, I've been getting a lot of people that will come on and say things like what you just said, Chrissy, which is just like, you should respect yourself. I'm so sick of women degrading themselves for money. And it's like, first of all, I used to work at a farmer's market for 9 hours on a Sunday morning, and I got paid $100 cash and sexually harassed by the farmer that ran it. So let's talk about degrading ourselves. Do you know what I mean?
I know, as a hostess, when the owner comes by, like behind the host stand, and rubs his dick on my ass and goes, I love yoga pant day. That's more fucking degrading than, putting my tits online. For money. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous.
Plus, there's a fundamental difference. And it's kind of like what Sovereign was saying. It's people, anytime someone's being shitty to you or angry, starting a fight, they're just projecting their own belief system onto you. That's all an argument is. It's someone going, I need you to think the way I think and see the world the way I think. That's all it is. You're trying to domesticate someone to your point of view. Yeah. And so I've keyed into, just because I've been getting a lot of these comments at such like a rapid pace on TikTok, that it's actually been calming, because I've been able to like easily decipher when people get up on their moral high horse where they're like, that's so terrible, your parents must be proud, and they say all kinds of shitty stuff. It's like, oh, the big difference is you think sex is sacred. I think it's fun. That's the big difference. I don't think sex is a big deal.
It's
I think
fun
the body,
and funny. It's
disgusting
and weird and bizarre.
I think the body should be celebrated. So that's when people come at you with like, you should be ashamed. It's like they're projecting their shame about their body and their sex onto you. And so it's like, oh, well, your shame has nothing to do with me. Like, that's not my issue.
Well, yeah, it's like my thing I usually say is like, how you feel about your body is not how I feel about mine. Like they're unrelated. Like how I feel like me having my tits out, how I feel about my body and what I'm doing with it has nothing to do with how you feel about your body and what you do with your body. But I think the other part too is you get faced with a lot of anger from people that have been paying into the system. That means that they have been not sleeping around, not exploring their sexuality, not doing this stuff. And you come along and you're breaking the rules and you're getting paid for it and you're getting rewarded for it. And they're just so fucking mad. And so my other response usually tends to be like, who are you mad at? Like, who are you mad at right now? You mad at me or you mad at you? Like, for making the wrong decision? You mad at all the people that lied to you and told you had to do all this shit to get rewarded, when this whole time you could have just been doing whatever you wanted and be in the exact same place? Like,
my ex-boyfriend saw my OnlyFans and he messaged me. He said, grow up. I said, I am grown up now. I can pay my rent. This is great. I've actually never been grown up before in my life. I'm 28. Wow. and now I have money to pay my rent. So
Well,
actually,
and also,
I feel like I am grown up.
this idea of like get a job, first of all, unless you not even own your own business, because even if you own your own business, you still you are dependent on customers buying your product. So you still are dependent on someone coming to you and saying, I like your product, here is some money. So unless you're out in the middle of the forest living off of the land and you are not, and you're Amish, you are not working for yourself. You are also, if you work a 9-to-5 job, you're giving your body away for money. If you work a 9-to-5 job, you are physically getting your body out of bed and taking your body away from your family and kids or whatever. Even if you're on Zoom, your attention's here. So your body is going to work in an office and you're performing a task in the hopes that somebody with more money will give you a check for what you've done. So
that's right.
What's like, so if it doesn't take a lot of logical steps to go, oh, wait a minute, what we're doing in sex work is like, this is the closest thing to like an independent business owner there could possibly be.
Yeah, you know? It's like the easiest money ever.
And I say like, I came in from porn, and like the one thing I'll give comedians is there's so much stuff that male comedians should be totally roasted for, but like they have never given me a hard time about my job, because their response is usually like, we're all scumbags here. Like every last one of us. Like the nature of this job is fucking like that. At least within comedy, it's people have always been like really accepting, because there's like, yeah, like we're all show folk, like we're carnies, like we're animals, you know, like
carnival people.
Yeah, like we don't live normal lives. We live in motels. Like all of male comedians are all on Craigslist, like getting hookers off of Craigslist when they're touring and doing stuff. Like they're all doing it. Some won't admit it, but like they're all doing it.
They're all on Craigslist looking for gigs. That's what they're doing on Craigslist.
I mean, I had a few just tell me, they're like, yeah, of course you do. You get done with the show and you're just like, you're lonely. You're sitting in the hotel room. Like, of course you fucking go on Backpage or Craigslist and try to find somebody to spend an hour with. Like, yeah, you're in Omaha, Nebraska. Like you haven't been home in 3 months. Like, of course. So I think at least within stand-up, there's a general just acceptance that we're all kind of like, we're all stepping and fetching for like the general consumer, you know? So, I mean, just like there's drawbacks in OnlyFans. Like one, you're making men happy. That sucks, but whatever, you know? Like,
I live to make men happy. I really do.
There was a stripper on TikTok that was like, listen, it's got its ups and downs. I hate making men happy. I love out earning them. Like,
so funny.
I hate making them happy.
But I mean, that's the thing is like, I think at least with stand up, you know, a lot of stand up is you're doing one nighters. You're if you're getting paid, or you're getting paid $50 or $150, you're staying at shitty motels. You're not touring like Chicago. You're in the suburbs playing like jokers. And like, you know what I mean? It's like, for the most part, what you're doing is very not glamorous. And you're trying to get laughs from like Trump supporters, like that kind of that, unless you're in a big city and you like, so for the most part, like we're all still sort of playing to the middle ground. Like we're all still kind of, and when you're doing OnlyFans, like there's stuff about your presentation that's going to have to change and adjust for the consumer. You know what I mean? Like you can't go on. I mean, you can go on and do your feminist rants, but like it is going to cut into your bottom dollar. And like, there are ways that you're going to edit yourself as you're interacting and engaging so that you're making people feel good as opposed to making them feel bad, you know, and just, so in a lot of ways, it's, you know, it's just like stand up where it's like, you know, we can't all go out and do the exact set that we want to do. We do have to understand their parameters and limitations to what we can expect an audience to pay for. You know, like we may have a genius set, but if we know that we walk into a room, you know, in Tampa and do that material, it's probably going to go over like a lead balloon. We adjust what we're doing. And so it's like all jobs have that kind of aspect of emotional labor and that aspect of self-editing and kind of, you know, no one can fully be themselves and do whatever they want, like, and still rely on other people for money. Like we all have to adjust.
Have any of you girls felt like you have to hamper your political opinions or any kind of what you think might be an unpopular opinion? Do you feel like you have to hold that back on your OnlyFans or on your TikTok because for fear of, oh, this will turn off a portion of potential customers.
I think all the people that follow me kind of know my deal. So I don't edit myself at all.
What's your deal?
I don't know, but people seem to like be okay with it. I'm kind of awkward and not, I mean, I can't really sext that well. Like I watched a guy in England jerk off today for money.
Cool.
Obviously on Skype. And he fully clothed, just watched him. And he didn't even expect me to be like, yeah, daddy. Like, oh my God, I would so love that dick in my mouth. See, I can't even say that. But I was like, wow, you're doing a great job with that. That looks cool. Like,
so he just paid you to watch him jerk off.
What's that?
He just paid you to watch him jerk off.
Yeah, I was like, of course. Or a guy paid me to, I shouldn't say this. He gave me a bunch of money. He gave me a bunch of money to pretend to like blow a cucumber. And that's money. And I did it. And I give a great blow job. And this is who I am. So I'll do, it just depends on what you want. But I'm new at this. So I'm not a sex worker. People, I don't talk about like, people just ask me basically what I did with my day and give me money.
That's what they like, baby. They like to deflower you. That's why I'm saying these girls that have never done porn before or done sex with people, like they kill it on OnlyFans because the male fantasy of like, I'm the only one.
I know what to do. Yeah, I'm like,
and it doesn't matter what age you are. It's the fact that you haven't been fucked on camera. I'm telling you, like, it doesn't matter.
It's true. They're like, oh, I'll wait.
It doesn't matter. But like the idea that like no one else has seen your nudes or no one else, like when they can live in that fantasy that they're somehow like despoiling the goods.
I know. I'm such a whore though. I don't get why they think like I don't think they think they know, like if you look at my stand up and the podcast I'm on, the things I say, I'm very open, very honest about sex. I talk about it all the time. I'm fucking Eskimo sisters with my mother. Like I am very open. So I think it's a level of that, but also maybe I don't like censor myself. If you want to talk to me, you can talk to me. If not, then that's fine. Unsubscribe. Thank you.
I generally I wasn't a fan of Trump, but at the same time, I don't care enough about politics to like, I don't want to fight about it all day. Like, it's just not that important to me. So like, I don't talk about it on my OnlyFans just because it's just not that fucking important to me at the end of the day. Like, I don't care what your politics are if you're jacking off to me. And
do people talk to you about politics on there?
Like, well, that's the thing is like, if you're talking about politics, like something has been lost in translation. Like, and like, because they're paying for messages, like, like they must really fucking love Donald Trump if they want to spend money
to talk about it.
Maybe my dad really did pay for my medical then, because I don't know. My parents are both Trump supporters. We'll see. I'm not sure.
But if it is like the girlfriend experience, like I can understand, like they would talk to you if that's on their mind, especially in the now it's like it probably less so in 6 months, but it's been a hot topic for a while. So I can understand if someone's looking for the girlfriend experience, someone to talk to, someone to vent to.
Yeah, babe. Biden sucks. He's going to ruin our country.
I had that recently with someone, and I mean, I've never had the experience in OnlyFans, but and I don't want to shock anyone, but a straight white rich man who wants to pay a girlfriend on the side may or may not be pro Donald Trump. I know, Sovereign, it's weird to me. I'm like, wait, a rich white man. Wait a minute, who made a lot of money in the stock market and also possibly worked in the military.
Ooh.
No.
Now, I'm the same where like I kind of care, but I mostly don't really give a shit. You know what I mean? It's like at this point, it's like it's all kind of the same thing to me. And I may or may not think we're living in a computer simulation. So like I get like passionate about stuff for like 5 minutes and I'm like, well, fucking whatever. I don't care. I'm trying to have a good time. But we had a conversation and he said something and it triggered me. And I felt like I was on the phone with my mother and I had to correct myself. I was like, bitch, you are at your job. And how I twisted it was in my mind, I was like, think of this as like a sub-dom thing. And this is like, you're somehow getting off on the fact that you guys disagree. So make this a fantasy where you're like a hippie in the 60s and he's a military. So I like quickly was able to switch it into like, If there's
Wow.
ever a disagreement where you find yourself kind of speaking out of line, because again, it is your job to be a cool girlfriend. That's a trick for anyone listening. If you find yourself stepping out of line,
I'm gonna write it down.
Yeah, especially because the three of us, especially comics, do this. We're mouthy, so it's in our nature to be like, "Hold on, fuck you, that's not right." So, but you can take a step back and be like, "Sorry, I get passionate." Be like, "Oh, it kind of turned me on to like get in a fight," and just so like that's a tip. If you
weave
pop off,
weave it into the story.
Yeah. Just yes, and your own bitchiness.
Well, and then I've also found, because like I don't do like a lot of like anti-man stuff, but like I just posted a TikTok today where it was like a stitch, and the guy was like, tell me, like, name one thing you like about men. And I stitched it. And I was like, when they're gay. And I'm aware that like people, that's like a turn off. But what I've also found is that, okay, here's the thing I found is that women, like, we are pessimists and we're pragmatic. Men are incredibly optimistic. They think everybody's 18. They think everybody wants to be there. They think you're talking about other men, not them. They think you mean other Trump supporters, not them. They're not that kind of Trump supporter. They're a different, like, men are incredibly optimistic in their own self-evaluation. So a lot of times too, like, even if you're mouthy or you're this or you're that, they are walking in feeling like, but you don't mean them. You mean like those other guys, but not them. Like, they're different guys, and they're going to show you they're different guys they're going to be really cool and generous with you, and they're going to like change your mind. So that's also like, you know, the thing that I like about sex work is men, for the most part, are actually pretty generous and optimistic, and actually, for the most part, just want to be validated and complimented, and like that. I don't feel dirty doing that. Like, I like making people feel, I like gassing people up. You know what I mean? Like, so in that way, for me, it's kind of a fun job, because it's like, I just make people feel good all day. Like, I'm just there to listen. And especially right now, it's lonely out there. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of us, it's been almost a year that we've been pretty much, you know, just sitting in our houses and kind of negotiating, visiting friends when we just finally can't take it. And then we decide it's like worth the risk, or some of us have just decided we don't care. We're like accepting that we're just going to get it. Or so I think too, that as much as I think that when people talk about the cons of sex work or this or that, they're always speaking in hypotheticals. It's like they're always imagining some scenario, like what could happen. Like, oh, you'll have, like, what if you have a bad client that hurts your feelings, and it's like, they're always speaking in hypotheticals. I think when you talk to most people that have done sex work, if you ask them, like, if you had shitty clients, most people will say like one, maybe. And like I think the worst person I ever had was someone that was just kind of rude. I just didn't like his personality, but there's nothing horrible. I think for the most part, people are kind and they're nice, and they're, you know, like, you're offering a service and they would like to use that service. And like, and that's where it begins and ends. You know what I mean? So I think, I don't know. Like,
I've got really nothing but kindness, and you know, and actually it starts to make you feel like you know these people. Like, there's people I talk to every day, all day, and you're like, you know, well, I got to talk to, you know, blah, blah, blah today. And that's fine. And I like it. And I like to hear about their lives. And, you know, I don't get any like, I don't think that they're all creeps or like freaks. Some are, but for the most part, people are just like, the biggest pro of this for me is like compliments all fucking day long.
Wow,
Who
sign me up.
love that? Like, you know?
Well, I think that's the thing when guys are like, yeah, well, like, it's just like lonely, creepy guys. And I'm like, you mean guys like you?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever watched porn? Like, if you watched porn, do you think you're a creepy person? Yeah. Like a lot of people will say stuff like that. Like, oh, it's like these sad, creepy guys that, like, these are the guys that use these services. And it's like, no, they're just guys, like, just like everyone else. It's like, it's the same thing where it's like, everyone's always imagining it's someone else. Like, they're never, it's like, like, but you use porn and you go on Instagram and you like cam girls photos, and you like, that's you. Are you a creepy person? Like, or are you a normal person? Yeah. Like,
So I like Sovereign. I like hearing that you say that what you learned from, I guess, either combination of porn or OnlyFans, like the things that make men happy, which is like to be validated. And I think you said attention. I forget what the other thing was. I I want to hear from Keanu and Wendi. Like, were there some surprises or things you've learned over the years, whether in OnlyFans or something else that you've a surprising thing
2
you
weeks
learned? Yes, your 2 weeks, Keanu. Surprising things or eye-opening, like, oh, men really love this, or I learned that guys feel good when you do this.
They want to see your butthole. I've learned that. They always want to see your butthole. And that's just not my favorite thing to do. And then the other thing I thought was odd, armpit. That's an odd thing, but I'm down. You want to see my fucking armpit? I don't give a shit. For money, I don't care.
Oh.
But mostly the other thing I have one guy, he's so fucking sweet. He's so fucking sweet. He's written me like 3 or 4 like erotic stories about us.
Ooh.
And I really do read them from like top to bottom. And I just think like this would be like the boyfriend of a lifetime. Like,
yeah,
it's so sweet and like it's highly sexual, but also it's like there's like cute romantic things in it. And I just think like if this makes somebody happy, it kind of makes me happy. That's fine. If you want to, pay me to read things, then I'm down.
You're like an editor, really.
I know. I'm like, you have a typo there. So.
Yeah, I would say kind of it's similar to what Sovereign was saying, especially with doing the sex work, like with sugar daddies and having that experience. Because the men that I've dated, the sugar daddies that I've had are all like you would outwardly, they're very successful. They're good looking. You think they've got everything. And if we're being honest, they usually got a wife. So and then with me, and I was always self-conscious when I signed up for the site. I was self-conscious because I'm like, I'm older. I'm not, like I'm fine to look at for a comedian, but as far as like a hot person, you know what I mean? It's like, it's like, there's so many, there are just hotter people. But what I found is they like conversation and they want to feel valued. Men, as much as like, we're so focused on women being like, well, we're insecure and we're objectified. Men are equally like fucked up about getting older, about if they're fat, if they're ugly. So like they like that. Like they just want to be told that like they're handsome. I mean, you tell someone they're handsome and that like I was just texting with someone and he was like, he goes, the fact that you want to be with me like gives me such an ego boost.
Wow.
And like weird, and he's a good looking guy with a great fucking life. And I feel like I'm over here, I had to leave New York for St. Louis and I'm like on TikTok and like that's taking off. So I'm like trying to like jumpstart my career again to get things going for when touring opens up. And so it's hard where I'm like, I feel like a fucking loser, but to him, so it's like, you're like, oh, you're also insecure. And I've noticed with TikTok, with talking about like the joke is about like younger people stuck in bed or this one young kid. That's the joke. And so there was this whole group of people and we all know women are insecure with that, but men, they were like, I feel that makes me feel good. I'm 40 and I feel like shit. I'm like, so men are going through the same shit that we are. And so like with sex work, people think it's all you're doing crazy. Like, I mean, it is a lot of butthole stuff for sure, Keanu. Like,
a lot of
butthole.
Sure.
It's like buttholes and it's like buttholes and listening. I would say like the 2 main things that men like.
That's what I'm calling this episode. True. Thank you so much, Wendi. I'm writing it down.
You're welcome.
Well, and I think too, like a big shift is having gone from porn to OnlyFans. I have a different perspective in terms of like the needs of the consumer have changed. So when there was only the subscription model to like porn sites and that kind of stuff, the consumer was like, this is what porn is, right? Is I watch it on TV, I watch it on the screen, I jack off, I fantasize about what the girl might be like, but like, I don't know. And then Twitter and social media happened and porn stars started to be on social media, but like and so you could tweet at us and talk to us and you did start to get a sense of personality. And then what started to happen was like porn stars that were popular started to be those that could be savvy on social media and like have a personality. And then also with the millennial kind of moving into Gen Z is like these different norms around gender and sexism and all of this stuff is there's an increasing concern on the part of the consumer to know that the things are ethically done and that people are being exploited. And with OnlyFans as kind of a natural thing emerging out of like Twitter and Instagram was like, now you get this full access. So now porn consumers aren't even necessarily going to pay sites anymore. They they now prefer OnlyFans because they never knew that they could get the interaction before. And what's happening and what people are figuring out is that the interaction was actually far more important than how crazy the sex acts were and what the girl looked like. So on my OnlyFans, I sometimes do girl stuff very occasionally, but it's almost all just solo content. And it's not dipped my sales at all, because that's not why they're there. Like, they're there for that, but they're there for the engagement and the interaction. And what I found is, you know, a guy likes a compliment for sure. But when that compliment comes from someone that has a personality, is intelligent, and is not just some dum-dum, like, it carries more weight. That is why, you know, it doesn't matter what age you are or any of that stuff. It's like, the more education you have, the funnier you are, all of this stuff, like, that is what makes you like a high value item to a consumer. Because, you know, if Wendi gives me a compliment, that is going to go way further than if a random girl on Twitter does, because Wendy's smart and Wendi knows stuff and she could see through bullshit. So if she's giving me the compliment, it feels better. And like, I think, it just means more. And so I think that's why OnlyFans is really sort of taken off, and why you can never tell like who's going to kill it. You know what I mean? It's like, because like consumers, it's not enough to just be pretty anymore. It's not enough. You can't be just a 20-year-old girl in a bikini with like butt injections and all that. Like, it's not enough, because you can go on Google and you can see thousands and thousands of girls that look just like that. Like, and consumers are kind of numb to it. It's like, they're like, okay. Like, at first it was novel. Like, at first it was a very novel thing, all the filters and the surgery, and people were blown away by it. They're like, what is this like sex android thing I'm looking at? She's perfect. But it's been about 10 or 15 years since a lot of that has been normalized. And now consumers are like, okay, I mean, yeah, whatever. Like, it's just not, it doesn't have the same impact. And so I think kind of one of the cool things about OnlyFans is it's kind of coming back to like, but does she have personality? Like,
the pendulum is swinging back, I think, to like the raw, the unfiltered. Yeah.
Well, that's why we all definitely have a personality. So that's why
TikTok's popular, is because TikTok is like a reaction to Instagram, because Instagram became so polished. And the whole thing about TikTok is about like radical transparency, you know, and like a lot of Gen Z kids will be talking about, like, they'll talk about that like, it's using a bunch of filters in your TikToks and doing all this stuff to kind of hide who you are is kind of frowned upon. It's like, that's not why we're here, man. Like, there's kind of that attitude. And I think OnlyFans is sort of the same. I think OnlyFans is the same thing with porn, where people are like, yeah, I don't want to see that anymore. Like, that's dumb.
Interesting.
Like, I'm not into it. Yeah.
Still love porn, but I'm cool.
Do you guys ever think about this idea? Like, if there are guys that are great customers, right? Even they're not creeps. They're smart. They're whatever. They're being great. They're not overstepping. They're tipping, whatever, doing all the right things. Do you ever think like, oh man, like, am I hampering, like just what you were saying before, Keanu, like this guy would make a great boyfriend to somebody, but he's giving it to me. Do you ever feel like,
oh, no.
Like, wow, like,
give it to me.
No. Oh, right. Of course.
Step back on that.
But do you ever worry, like, I mean, do you feel like, wow, I could be keeping somebody from finding a relationship because they're just, you know,
fuck them.
Or do you feel like, you know, it's up to them if they want to pull out and go find a relationship? Like, it's no one's job to.
I did. My brother's boyfriend is a therapist, so he did do a little therapy session with me, because it's only been a week and a half. But I was like, kind of like feeling a little anxious about the whole thing, and I was sort of saying, like, I feel like I really want to talk to all of these people and like give them like my whole self and like be there for them. And he said, he said, you're like the giving tree. And if you give too much, you will die. It was like, I just, so you have to like go back and forth, but I don't exactly feel guilty for them, because they're like, you know, they're paying and they're very sweet. And obviously it's making them happy. So, and a lot of the guys I talk to have a girlfriend. So, I mean, it's a little touch and go for me right now with that.
Yeah.
But no, I don't really feel that bad if they want to give me the money. But I do feel that a lot of people are lonely, especially in the last year. So that does kind of weigh on that pulls my heartstrings a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if Wendy's had the same experience doing sex work. One of the things you learn is that, like, the version of them you're getting, like, is also like a construction. So a client can come in and present as like, oh, what a sweet boyfriend. He's so sentimental. You have no idea
who the fuck they are. I have to write all this down.
Yeah, like, so, and I'm sure like that was one of the things I learned in sex work. And then also just like that, you know, they have a certain fantasy about who you are. And like your job is more to kind of figure out what that is and then play within those bounds. Like some people want to hear about how crazy your life of a sex worker is. And then some people want to be able to tell you about their day and have you be like, wow, you're such a good businessman. You know, like kind of like you start to figure out what it is people are looking for and understand that the version of themselves that they're presenting to you is also a very idealized version of themselves, you know.
I think like if like Chrissy, if you started one, it would be the same deal as me. It's people that listen to us on podcasts.
Fans.
They're just like fans. So they just want you to be yourself. So I haven't really experienced like trying to, you know, oh, this guy wants me to be this or that. They're like, tell me about you and your mom fucking the same guy. Or like, you know, would you let your mom watch you fuck or whatever? I'm like, no, but thanks for asking. You know, they want you to be, so that's my experience with it. So if you did the same thing, it would be a different experience. And since the porn thing, they all think of you as a porn star. So you have to deal with probably like 50,000 different versions of yourself. So I don't know. That would be totally really hard to navigate, I guess.
Yeah, I think, well, but even with doing stand up, I mean, and I don't know about you guys, like, even though, like, I think as far as, like, the comment I've seen, Sovereign, I haven't seen you, but I imagine you're pretty open on stage. But I think we can all agree we're being ourselves, but it's like, it's also a show. So it's like a different version of ourselves. So, like, when we go on stage and we're like, you're looking at your notes going like, okay, this joke that I've been telling for 4 years. Okay, I'm going to say that this happened 2 weeks ago because this makes sense so I can work the new joke. So like we're also doing a caricature of ourselves, right? So it's a hyped up version. And so people do the same. And as far as Keanu being new, and I know Sovereign might probably get with me on this, I think having done sex work before, going into OnlyFans, I didn't have a problem setting very clear-cut boundaries. Plus, again, I'm 39, so I'm not here for anybody's bullshit. You have to set boundaries for yourself.
I'm here for everyone's bullshit. That's my problem. I put your bullshit on me.
You got to set boundaries.
Abuse me. I'm extremely submissive. Like,
I know. I am too. But subs always dom from the bottom, right? So I'm very sexually submissive, but subs actually run the show. So when we say time's out, stop, the game stops.
Thank you.
OnlyFans, what I had to do because I got too caught up in it. And even like I think it's anything. You start TikTok and if things start blowing up and you're like, I need to look at all these comments and respond.
Yeah.
You have to focus, like where you have to pay attention to your energy every day. Like, where is your energy going? Whether that's, you know, into a work project or staring at the news or thinking about how your life is in shambles.
Well,
like,
and some of it has to go to my boyfriend sometimes. Right. And I'm sitting here at 9 a.m. Like,
here's what I would suggest. Schedule it. Yeah. I would suggest schedule it like a job so that you don't get so lost in it that's your only focus. And then you stop thinking about things like writing jokes and doing podcasts. So like make sure that you have a balance and set boundaries for yourself. And you don't have to explain yourself to these people. And not to sound like a cunt. I love everyone on my OnlyFans. I charge $5 a month. I post 4 times a week and it's stuff that I want to post. And I respond to messages in the morning. I do 1 hour, like work emails, and I chat to people. And then at night, I check them again and I respond again.
And they get to like, if you like, you just like my fans just know like, oh, she's around, she's active at these hours too. So it's like they get to know like your schedule. And so they'll know like, oh, okay. Like like she's always on from like 3 to 5. She's always responding right away. Like
This is
people are responsive to they like when you have like a schedule, like when they know that you're not there, just like they're free to message you all day long, but like that you're only available to respond in these little windows. Like they respect that. They figure it out and they respect it. It's just like camming. Like you make the most of camming when you have like a schedule, when people know they can come see you from 4 to 5, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's how you start getting people in. And it's the same thing with OnlyFans. Like people start to get a sense for when you're active.
I'm a very giving person, and like I like the attention, I guess, and I like being like a hoe and like all that stuff. So I am a little caught up in it, I suppose.
Yeah,
But
and here's the other thing, and this goes back to I think earlier when we were talking about the guy, like Sovereign and I were talking about the guys that we date that are like, this is fucking great that these dudes are paying you. That idea of like scarcity. So something else, and this is again, I've learned this with doing like ground floor sex work. A sugar daddy, just because they're paying you, if he's like, hey, can I come over in 20 minutes? No, motherfucker, you can't. You need to let me know ahead of time because I had a cheese plate last night. So no, you cannot just come over. I don't care if you have $2,000. It's not happening. So and that little bit of respecting yourself, if people are blowing up. I had a guy on OnlyFans recently that he is submissive. I don't want to deal with a sub. It's too much work. There's not enough money in the world. And I'm starting my own Patreon where I'm doing like other stuff, like not like it's like workouts and shit like that. And like, you know, and just like fun other things so that I can have some extra content for all the female fans that I've gotten on TikTok.
Yeah.
So that it's not because the men have extra things where they can go. So I was like, let me make a venue for women where we can talk about sex work. So I've been working on that. And so if you just, he's like, oh, where are you? Can't. It's like, first of all, you are not sending me any extra money. You're paying $5 a month. So I'm not obligated to, and this is not in a shitty way, but just know this for yourself. You're not obligated to respond to anyone. You don't want to. Everything you do is by choice.
do. I feel like, and I always do. I respond to
but
everyone.
you have to start respecting yourself a little bit and set boundaries.
No respect for myself, Wendy. Like it's literally none.
You'll burn out. I know we're like it's a comedy show, but I'm like being serious for you.
You would.
And then the other thing, this actually helps your relation. I found it helps my relationships with the guys that message me a lot because they know it's work, but they don't like to feel like talking to them is your job. So if even though you and your brain have in your schedule, I'm doing OnlyFans from these hours to these hours where I'm responding to people, I never let them know it's work. I say, sorry, I was busy with work all day, but now I have some time to play for us. So that just if they know that you're busy working, they're like, oh, she's working. Oh, so she doesn't consider this work. So now that little bit of time they have with you becomes even more precious and more valuable. And when something is more valuable to a person, they spend more money on that thing. So like there are all these different like things that I know it seems counterintuitive, but like trust me on this, you don't burn out because it's fun, but you gotta pace yourself.
And you are gonna get fans and subscribers that are going to have trouble understanding. Like it will happen. You're gonna occasionally get that subscriber that is very at first they're tipping a lot and they're doing all this stuff and they will start to get very demanding and it's inevitable. Like they happen. And there's going to be times when you're going to have a subscriber that you really like and that is very generous, but at a certain point they just get too demanding. And there will be times when you're going to have that conversation with someone where you say, look, like this is done. Like we're done here. Like, so you got to be prepared that like, cause otherwise it'll just eat you up and you'll just let these people kind of bully you out of your time because they'll just kind of constantly need to just like, 5, 6, 7, 10, 15, 20, 30 times a day. Like, and it's not just, hey, how you doing? It's like, I wrote you this poem. I wrote you another poem. I wrote you this. It'll just start to be like there's no way you can match that energy. And it's also a sign that someone has become attached in a way that's like really unhealthy, because it's like,
I wrote down bully you out of time. So I know.
Because you want everyone to have a good time. You don't want to be, if someone's becoming like obsessed or obsessive, like that's not good for them either. And it's like, if you really care about them and appreciate their generosity, like you also have to be able to set the boundary for them, like for their own mental health. Like
a bartender, like you got to cut them off.
You got to cut them off. You got to be like, hey man, like, like I'm providing all of your validation.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like, when someone decides that you're the source of all of their validation, then they're going to become very anxiously attached to you. Like they're going to be just, and so
to me, that sounds awesome.
Has OnlyFans ever? And I guess we're already addressing it, but did you feel like it took you? Because I imagine, like, if I started OnlyFans tomorrow, I'd be like, okay, here's another thing that's going to take hours out of every single day. Did you find like I'm posting less on other apps? Were you finding that, you know, your other social media platforms were suffering because you have to dedicate so much time to OnlyFans?
You asking me?
Just whoever, if anyone's felt that way.
I'm not doing any stand-up right now. So all I'm doing, I work for my dad in the day. The phone is barely ringing because it's January. So it's not that big of a deal to me to sit here and I post one sexy photo on OnlyFans every single morning. And then I, you know, message everybody of maybe a couple pictures that's like more scandalous during the day. And I'll talk to the people. And if they want to it has become like a full-time job, but it's not like, and I still post on Instagram. So, I mean, I still do our podcast. We only do it once a week. So it hasn't like, it just like took up the space of where I wasn't really doing that much. I have nowhere to do stand-up. I just came back to New York. I mean, I guess there's some shows upstate or whatever, but I'm not doing the Zoom shows. I should probably get a TikTok. That would be maybe take up a little more healthy time, but I don't know. I don't feel like
that's not.
I
waste a lot of time on TikTok.
I mean, and if I watch TikTok, I cannot stop. So I understand. I love it. I love watching the fat chicks dance. I cannot stop myself. That is the best TikTok, is watching like the bigger girls dance. It just makes you feel good in your soul. Like the confidence. I love TikTok, but so all the time I was spending watching TikTok, I'm just sitting on OnlyFans and I don't mind it. Right now, it's not really bothering me. So yeah, I don't know. I'm cool with it.
Yeah. I started doing streamlining on my stuff because I know Chrissy knows this. I moved to St. Louis because I needed a low overhead, and I know about one person in this city. I was like, I need a lower overhead. And so and because all my friends are in New York and all my comedy people are in New York. So my like creative support system is not around me.
Yeah.
And it's been really tough, but it took a few months. And like when I started TikTok 6 weeks ago, I was like, you need to be proactive. You cannot just sit here and be depressed and just like shrivel away into nothing. Like just fucking get over yourself. And I mean, not drinking helps. So if you are feeling depressed and you need to not feel like, if you just quit drinking, that helps your mood immensely.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's like the number one thing. But so everything felt overwhelming for me because it was like every like with OnlyFans, it was like, I got to do a big thing. But I think it's like when you start anything, it's a new project. And so you're learning how to do this and work it into your schedule. And it feels stressful to be like, I can't believe I'm going to post a picture of my ass on the internet and people are going to pay for it. And it's very exciting. And you get that dopamine dump. And then after a couple months, it just became like with TikTok, because I do costumes. And so I'll like have on, I just posted one where I was in like a BDSM thing. It was like a tutorial on BDSM versus abuse. And I had a wig on and I'm already dressed. So I shot this fucking TikTok. And then while the camera's up and the ring light's up, I just hit record and do a strip tease and whatever the TikTok outfit is. And then post those. So you can kind of stream. I try to just get it all done at once. Like, here we go. And
no, never waste a good outfit or like a face full of makeup, I've learned, and like take some fucking pictures of me, or I'll take them myself and then just post it. And people they're cool with it and just post a couple a day. That's what I've known in my short 2.5 weeks, but it seems to be okay right now. So I don't know.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Like I put on makeup and I do whatever I'm going to do. If I do a lot of JOIs. That's a tip. If you don't feel like jerk off instruction, like you just talk to, like, if you don't feel like taking off your clothes and you don't feel like all that stuff, a lot of stuff that I'll do is I'll literally just set up my camera. I'll imagine a scenario in my head. My roommate's been stealing my panties, whatever. Right. And then I just talk to camera. Like I'm talking to that roommate. And I'm like, you stole my panties, haven't you? Like, and I'll just start doing this scenario. Like, I want you to put these on. I want to see you. Like, show me what you were doing when you were holding my. And so it'll be like 3 to 5 minutes of me just talking shit to the camera, like asking me, like, telling them how to jerk off and like kind of being like, you're such a pervert, you snuck into my room and you did this and all this stuff. And people love it. And it's something that you're doing from like the shoulders up. And
it's like a one-act play. Yeah.
It's all about creating the fantasy. Or I'll do one where like I'll be shaving my legs. I'll set the camera up and I'll be like, you're my roommate spying on me in the shower. And I'll just sit there and shave my legs and like sort of ignore the camera. And like what I do is I create a narrative around the video so that it tells them what to jack off. Like they're imagining like, oh, I'm a creepy roommate. So all I'm doing in the video is maybe shaving my legs or showering. But I've created the narrative for them, which is like, here's what's going on.
It's so creative.
And like, so, well, because my whole thing is like, after being in porn a long time, it's like it gets boring. Like just how many times can you masturbate or take nudes? And I started doing that stuff. And it also opens the door for a lot more engagement, because if they'll be like, they'll want to talk about the fantasy. So if I'm like, here's this jerk off instruction, you're my roommate and you've stolen my panties and I've caught you. And then I do the videos of me just telling them how to jerk off or whatever. But then when they open the video, then it gives them an opportunity to start engaging with that fantasy. Like, yeah, I had been watching you for a long time. It's like, so it also opens the door for them to start engaging in a kind of dirty talk from.
Yeah, it's like a prompt, like
it's
a writing prompt. Yeah.
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 And like, that's a thing for me that's really helped with like in times of burnout and stuff. There are days when I can sit there and do, 15 videos in one day, where it's just, if I'm in a good mood and I'm feeling sexy and all that kind of stuff, I take advantage of that mood and I'll just do a bunch of stuff that like,
very good advice.
Yeah. Cause that way it doesn't feel like work, like if it's a day where I wake up and I'm like, I look cute as fuck today. God damn. That's the day I want to record content. Cause I'm going to be bubbly. I'm going to be in a good mood. I'm feeling myself. I'll take as many photos as I can. And I'll do as many of those like JOI videos or any kind of role play video, and like audio, anything. The thing that I've learned doing OnlyFans is that it's really like, you're a fantasy architect. That's what it's really about. And it's like, you can send nudes forever, but when you can start creating stories for people, like that's what really like gets them hooked in, because they're like, man, like they like the stories that you're making them think of. Like that's what they start to get hooked on.
You know what?
I like the stories they create for me.
I'm copying that idea.
So cute. I love you called us an Uber in this. You got the XL. Like that's
there's so much detail. You know what? I'm going to start doing that. Thank you for that tip. And this is something else that's not even like a jerk. Then this will probably make sense to you. I can't believe I haven't done more videos like this. I did a video. So Keanu, this is another, like, if you like for no burnout idea, I did a video and it's the most popular. I got the most comments and the most tips and people sent me the most money on it. It was not sexual. It was kind of, I wasn't jerking off. I'd started my period, so I felt like shit, and I ordered pizza, and I was watching Netflix on my laptop. So I set up my camera, and I had bought a bunch of panties because I had some new people join. This was a few months ago. So I was like sitting down, and I was like, I think in a sweater like this, and I was like, like no makeup like this, maybe some mascara, and I just was like, hey, I want to show you guys the panties that you got me, and I'm bloated, so I'm not fucking you, but you can jerk off on my ass while I eat pizza and watch TV. And I turned. And I was watching Dave Letterman interviewing Dave Chappelle, and it went for like 7 minutes. I was like, I'll let him at least watch. It's a funny clip. So I kept turning around and being like, can you see the screen? And I was like just leaning over, like eating pizza with a sweatshirt on and boy shorts. And that was, people fucking loved it.
No, they like when you're real. Yeah.
It was like their most favorite.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that I've done that people really love is I try to go live once a week. And what I do is I set the camera up in my shower and I'll go live for 5-8 minutes and I'll just literally talk about whatever I'm doing that day. So like, hey guys, I'm filming a TV pilot tomorrow, so I have to go get COVID tested today. I'm gonna have to put the thing up like that was my last one. It was just me doing that. Just like, and then I'm worried about the set because it's not blue, but it's very dark. And then they will message like, how did it go? How did the COVID test? It's like, but going live just once a week, and it's like not doing an elaborate like show, but just if I'm painting my toenails, I'll like go live. I'm painting my toenails, and it's just, we'll just talk. Just this is what's going on in my life. This is what I was worried about today. This was what made me sad today. This is what made me happy today. that going live has helped with retaining subscribers that don't necessarily do a lot of messaging, but they are there for your feed. Going live once a week, it's like it gives them like value for that. That's not necessarily a big energy output for you. It's like it's a perk they get for staying subscribed.
A lot of the guys have like given me tips too, and they do say like you should go live and do like shit like that. So that's good advice too. But
wow, yeah, I like this, guys. I feel like we've learned so much. Do you know? This is probably. I think the answer to this is no. But have you guys ever had pangs of like, this person's married or this person has a longtime girlfriend? Like, ever guilt feelings?
No, if anything, if you're going on OnlyFans, if that's your thing, and I mean this in all sincerity and I'm not bullshit, even with sugar daddies, people, married guys that I've dated, there's, the one guy, we just hit our past our 4-year anniversary and we don't even live in the same city. If anything, I feel like, especially on OnlyFans, if you do it responsibly and everyone sets boundaries for themselves and respects each other's boundaries, I think a lot of times it can help to save and keep someone in a marriage or relationship, because they're like, if everything's great, but the sex is just not, or they have like a kinky side that they feel like they can't let out because, like we talked about, they married the girl that was saving herself for marriage because she learned from a Disney movie that you don't give away your pussy unless someone is like, here is a castle. Okay. So they have that and they're like, well, I don't want to lose that, but I really want to do this because it seems like fun. To me, it's the same as like women pay to go get someone. We pay to have people scrub and clean and clip our toes and give us massages and do our hair. It's like, this is sexual and emotional maintenance for men that they're like, oh, this is their manicure and massage money.
Yeah, they don't want to burden their wives with it. They're like, she's raising my 3 kids. Like, I don't want to ask her for anal. Like, I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's like for them, it's not necessarily about cheating. It's just about they want to get their needs met, and they don't want to ask their wives they feel like are already doing a lot to like.
Wow.
And their wives probably don't give a shit. If the lady's not coming over, she's like, stay in the room and talk on the OnlyFans.
Yeah, exactly.
Eating or hanging out. Like, I don't give 2 fucks what you do. If you're married, I mean, I don't know. I talked to guys.
Plus everyone is allowed to make their own choices in life. I'm not holding a gun to anyone's head and being like, you better fucking get it. Do whatever. If you want to do it, you're an adult. You're an adult and I'm an adult. So let us do what we want and we're not hurting anybody.
Right.
That's
really smart. Yeah, it is like emotional maintenance. It is like, it's a release. It's like they need extra validation, just like I feel like I need extra validation that I'm not always getting. So it's like it's all just like you shouldn't be relying on just one person to fill your whole cup,
Right.
But there is such a stigma around like, oh, these girls from the internet are helping to fill my cup instead of my wife.
Some people are into weird shit and they want the guarantee of privacy.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to know, like, they don't want to go on Tinder or some other place and be like, I have an ABDL fetish, like a diaper fetish. They don't want to just go on the random internet and like casually try to get that into a conversation with someone, where if they know they can go to an OnlyFans creator that does diaper stuff, right? Like they know they can subscribe there and they can message with her and like they can talk about their fetish, but they also have kind of this guarantee of anonymity, right? They get to pick their username. They're not out there. And it's like the same thing with sex work. It's like the whole thing is like you're paying the girl to leave, right? It's like these are people that what they're wanting some anonymity.
I never got paid.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a different lecture.
I know. I have issues. I have major issues.
We're like, it's boundaries. And I say this for the women listening, because because I know that like the men are listening and they're like, yeah, fucking no shit. But I will say this for the women listening, because I have female friends that do not like hearing me talk about this because they are in long-term relationships. They're married. Maybe they're not having a lot of sex with their husband. I am not trying to take your husband. I think of it like when you have kids, You send your kids to school for the day. You send them to daycare. The babysitter's not trying to take your kids. You send them away so you can teach. They learn the alphabet or whatever. That's I'm like a husband sitter. Send them to me. I'll teach them how to find the clit and how to fucking listen to you. When you're talking about your day. I jerk him up so he's calm, and then I send him home. I don't want to keep him. You don't send your kid to daycare. Like, I hope that teacher doesn't steal my baby. No one wants your fucking kid or your fucking husband.
You feed them and burp them and send them back.
Right.
Or you're bearing the brunt for her. You're listening to him talk about his day at work, so she doesn't have to. Like,
That's true.
You know, like we're making it so that your date night is good. Like,
right, exactly. We're listening and we're showing our assholes, so you don't have to. Okay.
Right.
So the wife should also be paying us.
Yeah. You're like, that asshole is raising my 3 sons. You know, like I don't want to. It's busy.
I like Wendi a lot.
I like you too. I'm like, I gotta follow you on TikTok.
I know.
Yeah. I was like really carefully like who's gonna get along, and I feel like I picked pretty good. And then we have Keanu the newbie. I feel like
I just want to be like y'all.
Keanu, I love you. I miss you. I'm gonna come back to New York in March, I think. So.
Yay! Please do. Maybe it won't suck so fucking bad by then.
This was so great, ladies. Please go around and plug whatever you want to plug. Where can people find, follow, support you? Keanu.
You can just follow me, Keanu C. Thompson, on Instagram and Twitter, and that's where you can find my OnlyFans. Subscribe. I'll talk to you. We'll hang out. I'll take a picture of my butthole if you really want it.
Yeah. Wendi.
On Instagram, I'm a WendyBird82, and on TikTok, I am at the Helpful Hoe. Smart branding.
That's so great.
Yep, you can find me by my name too, but it's at the Helpful Hoe. Oh, I went very specific. I love it.
That's so good. Sovereign.
I'm just Sovereign Syre on all social media, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and then iwantsov.com is my OnlyFans. And if you go to any of my social media, there's my Linktree has my Patreon and everything else too for all my other stuff. So
amazing. Yes, please check these ladies out. Jerk to them, love them. And if you just want to talk about your day forever, if you funky poem you got to try out, send it to Keanu. This was great. Gals, thank you so much. We'll have to do another one of these sometime.
For sure.
Hey,
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.